Welcome in, guys. Garden Report style. Welcoming back Jimmy Toscano, who has yet to witness a
Yeah.
win.
Thanks for having me.
Yet to have
Warm welcome.
yet to witness a win in this series. They're 2-1 without Jimmy, 0-2 with Jimmy. So it is what
true?
it is. Yeah. You missed 2, 3, and 4.
Oh yeah. Wow. Time flies when you're in the Azores. Time doesn't even matter.
Anyway,
nothing matters really.
With the Celtics, time is a flat circle. We've seen this before. Truly, I would say
time is definitely a flat circle in this team, and it's Groundhog Day today.
I would say of all the times when we say stupid shit like that's the worst loss I've ever seen, that I would say you have more right to be pissed, sad, upset, disappointed, disgusted, whatever adjective you want to apply, all of it, this game, this stage, this team, this moment, this opportunity, all of this here, to not get yourself up to play in this game was the most both unsurprising yet shocking thing I could I just, again, you don't see it coming, Jimmy. You don't see it coming, yet when it comes, you're like, yeah, I saw that coming. You know, before we get into it, we're going to get it checks out. Yep, that tracks. We're going to get Jimmy's take. First off, we want to tell you again, podcast, as always, is brought to you by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you sign up at FanDuel.com. Of course, Athletic Greens. Go to athleticgreens.com.
We'll be betting on the Red Sox soon. We got nothing else.
Yeah. athleticgreens.com/garden, 1-year supply, vitamin D5 free travel packs, terrific vitamin supplement. And, oh yeah, they're back. HelloFresh. Go to hellofresh.com/16garden. Use the code 16garden for 16 free meals plus free shipping. Let's get into this game now, Jimmy. And holy wow. I mean, where do you start, buddy? Where do you start? Where do you guys guys, I can't do Joe the whole show. Joe Mazzulla, I think it's the same all the way through.
We kind of, unless you want to talk about the end of last game, which I didn't get to talk a whole lot about, we can talk about Joe. But other than that, this wasn't a Joe game for
Joe
me.
Mazzulla didn't lose this game. The Celtics came out and played dead-ass basketball. But, Jimmy, what struck you here the most?
Just that, dead-ass basketball. I mean, I think they had, again, and we've talked about this in other games, but they had every reason to come out strong. And even like Brogdon said, like, we're playing with desperation, before the game, he called that. And it felt like they had the right attitude going into this game. But when you let a team like the Sixers just kind of do the same sort of thing over and over and over again, and that's maybe you can get on Mazzulla for that, but the adjustments just weren't there on the defensive end. It felt like they were getting anybody they wanted open with just a simple, screen, pick and pop to the three-corner. How many open threes did this Sixers team have tonight? It was comical. He had three guys. The Sixers would throw one screen, and you'd have three Celtics on the switch covering the same guy. And then you could take your pick on who you wanted to take the open shot. And this isn't the first time it's happened either. So if you want to get on Mazzulla for just not having his guys look like any sort of way that they're in sorts, then fine, go right ahead. But you got to put it on the players. This is game whatever now. And it looks like they haven't even played together on defense before in a lot of cases. It honestly looks like they're just so completely out of sorts. Just the communication, looking at each other like why weren't you there? Or should was that you who was supposed to be there? It's like, what are we doing here? So I don't want to sound like Bobby Manning and say it's the defense. But honestly, it kind of is, John. The offense is the offense. I mean, their poor defense is leading to that slow offense too. So it's like they can't get into their run and gun offense, drive to the hole, up-tempo style. The Sixers controlled the clock. They controlled this game. They got out to a lead, and they just controlled it the whole way through. They played their style. They did everything they wanted on offense, which allowed them to play better on the defensive end. There you go, Sixers and 6.
Bold prediction right there.
Yeah, wow. He really put himself out on the line there.
Wow.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm fed up. Definitely fed up. I'm you know what? I'm tired. I think many people, many people I've talked to.
Look at me. I'm tired.
So I'm tired, man. And for a lot of reasons, but this team makes me tired. So many people I've talked to a lot of them aren't even angry. They're apathetic, which is even worse. Jeez. A couple of THs coming in, but they're apathetic. They don't even have the energy to care about this team when they play like this in the way that they've been playing. They're kind of hashtag done. A lot of people are hashtag done with this Celtics team, with the makeup of this team. I'm not saying I know what the fix is. I'm not saying I know what needs to happen or who needs to go and who needs to come in. But I'll tell you what, if the Celtics do lose in 6 like our friend Skull has boldly predicted here, change is going to come. Change is coming, folks, because you can't just re-up this thing. This is the best constructed roster you could have possibly put together. They're built to win a championship. And we're talking about bowing out to the Philadelphia freaking 76ers with Joel Embiid on one leg. Don't get me wrong, heroic performance. Yeah. But nobody should be talking about this right now. Nobody should be talking about this. So you have another real quick, one last thing. You have another prime opportunity to go to the NBA Finals and win a championship like you did in the bubble. And what did they do in the bubble? They pissed it away. And it looks like they're about to do the same exact thing now. They're the only healthy team left in this whole damn playoffs. And they can't put it together.
It's unbelievable. You look at and I left this up here too. I don't understand that. All due respect, to Kevin, I get it's frustrating, but two things are happening. The reason Horford and Smart are shooting threes, one, Horford led the league or was second in the league in 3-point shooting. He's a little cold now. You want him taking almost every one of those threes he took today. Mm-hmm. Smart, a slightly different story, but the point being is Philly's loading up on Tatum, sometimes Brown, and forcing these things. So you're playing into their hands a little bit. But really the reason why these guys shot and there were so many smart threes and this and that is because Jason Tatum was seeing ghosts and couldn't get to the paint anymore. And rightfully so, because Embiid's just been an absolute monster down there. Credit where it's due. Like, he's changed the entire series with his defensive presence. Because they're terrified to get down low. They can't do it. They can't get to the basket. They can't get anything easy going. So they are entirely reliant on those threes dropping. So you ask, why did they shoot those threes? Because they're way better than getting a shot swatted into the fifth row. And that's what it comes down to. And honestly, those guys shooting threes are better than Tatum shooting threes because Tatum stinks at it. He stinks at it. So I don't know what people want in this scenario. It wasn't that as much as for some reason, and defense is a huge part, Jimmy. There was no effort, not the same that you saw in games 2 and 3, fighting through screens and making it hard. The Celtics looked like they wanted tonight to be easy. They looked like they wanted.
John,
they want what?
Don't go down that road. If I hear a quote of one of those Celtics players tonight saying that, I think we assumed that, we were going to win this game. We didn't play hard enough. We thought that the Sixers were going to line up. No, nothing is easy in life, but especially in the freaking NBA playoffs against a team that everybody doubted, including a lot of people on this show, a player that a lot of people thought wasn't going to be able to even suit up. And like those guys are playing hard. Those guys are coming to play. Nothing is going to be easy. None of these Celtics players should think anything is going to be easy. They've had a target on their back for a long time now. And by the way, this game doesn't come easy to a lot of these players naturally anyways. It's always been hard work for a lot of these guys to have success in the NBA. And so they should be playing balls to the walls for 48 minutes plus 5 in overtime if that's what it takes. So you can go on, John, but I can't imagine that's going to come out of anybody's mouth tonight because I would die. I would die if a player says that they thought it was going to be easy tonight. Because what's it going to take for you to realize that you have to bring it? You have to play hard. You can't lie down. You can't take any NBA team for granted. And Embiid is out to prove something, and he's proving it right now. Proceed.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just, I
It threw you off.
no, it's just going back to it. I just because I don't get it, but that's what it seemed like. It's like you and I, Jimmy, have called them front runners before.
Oh my God. This is
Because that I
unfortunately
think
proving us true.
And here's what I hate. The reason I'm struggling with my words now, I do not want to take a freaking victory lap because of my reservations about the makeup of this team. I don't want to do it. It's not what I'm here for. I'm not interested in it. It's just frustrating. And
You're
then
the
you
first
see
lap
it.
you've taken in a while.
I don't want to do it. I don't like doing it. It's not what I want to do.
But you will.
When you see no, because when you see things, you point them out. But at this point, you reach the end of the season, it's like you want to be wrong. You want it to not be true. Like, all right, guys, you want to give the benefit of the doubt. Man up, you know? I never got over
That's
how they
what it
said
is.
multiple times in the finals, yeah, we didn't have the energy. We didn't match them. I'm like, it's the finals, guys. Like, how can
Right.
you say that about yourself?
Right.
Just go do it. But like all of this
What do you have
stuff
to
and
save it for?
all of these things that you think and you say them and you're like, well, I don't know that the Jays work together. I don't know that this core, I don't know that this thing. And everyone's like, shut up, dude. And like, I don't know what conclusions you draw. If they go out in 6, I think they're going to lose a lot of people who've been defending them for a very long time. You know, like, I think this is a team that absolutely should at least be in the finals, if not win a championship. 57 wins, top 2 in offense and defense. They can literally do it all. And to see them do nothing right for an entire game that they really had to win with a clear path to the finals in front of them.
By the way, over and over, the same thing, wrong, over and over.
For it is, and to watch the way they pissed away the other 2 games in this series, and people wrote it off like, oh, it happens. You know, they'll win anyway, but I'm going to be annoyed by how they won. No, man, you're about to lose this friggin' series. And I'm telling you, if it's going to be a nuclear offseason if you do. But the thing is, they could win. They could win the finals, Jimmy. We're still going to leave here and be like, I don't know about these guys. Like, it's impossible to ever be fully confident. No, it really is.
Yeah, but it's their fault for us feeling that way. Like,
it is their fault.
You
made me this way.
Yes, I will be kind of doubting. I will be doubting this whole.
You've made me this way.
It's your fault. I will be doubting this crew until the final horn of whatever game of the NBA Finals. Yeah. And I don't want to, but like I said, John, and this is what I said.
It's the same thing. I'll be doubting Jalen Brown right up until his Hall of Fame acceptance speech. You know, like.
Right. But I've said it like this. I have trust issues. Man.
Major.
Serious trust issues. I'm like, use whatever comparison you want. I'm like the dog that was treated poorly and like now he'll never like trust his next owner. Or I'm like the boyfriend who had his heart broken, and I just can't trust anybody. It's like that with the Celtics. It's like scoring love. Yeah, exactly.
It's exactly that. I can never love again.
Too.
Right.
Yeah, it could be a completely different roster. And I'm gonna be like,
the Celtics are a girlfriend who's cheated on you like 11 times, and you keep going back and like it's gonna be this time. It's gonna be different.
Yeah. She said that like she's gonna be different this time. She's gonna bring more energy next game or next date.
But this is a term they use in hockey a lot. I've heard hockey coaches use it.
Puck luck.
No, we don't want any passengers. We don't want passengers,
I hope to God that Montgomery didn't use it yesterday. That pathetic pathetic press conference.
Talk about, we could do I'm going to do an hour on that with Hags coming up on his podcast.
That's a jump on.
That was, by the way, did anybody ask Charlie Jacobs a single question? What the hell is he doing up there? Doesn't matter. I digress. But over and over and over again. Yeah, it's the same. It's you don't want passengers. And that's what it feels the Celtics are at times, is passengers. Like, everyone's along for the ride waiting for somebody else to do something, and things aren't going great.
Mm-hmm.
And all they can do is it's the classic. It's like a baseball team down 8 runs and everyone's trying to hit a 3-run homer. Like, it doesn't work that way. You grind, you put in the work, you get on base, you score a couple of runs, you have a clean inning, then you come back and you try to do it again. The discipline that it takes. It starts with stops, and then you run your offense, and then you whittle it away. But they just tried to get it all back at once, and it was just a freaking disaster. So I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here. I do know that Jimmy, you and I are not alone. We have right now almost 2,300 people in the stream between our 2 YouTube channels hanging out with us.
I wanted to say one other thing real quick.
Say one other thing. First, I want the first thing you say is hi, Sherrod.
Oh, let's go, Sherrod.
What's going on, fellas?
I thought you would have booked it out of there after that game, Sherrod.
Jimmy,
I tend to show up for games.
Oh,
Jimmy, get your.
Okay,
ooh,
no,
wow.
I want Sherrod to go. I want Sherrod to go.
Yikes.
I'll get to my
all right,
point
Sherrod,
later.
go.
Embarrassing. Just absolutely. Fans deserve better than this. This game meant
Despicable
everything.
C's. Yeah.
This game meant everything, and they gave us nothing. Nothing. They made James Harden look like Houston James Harden. Joel Embiid at no point. I don't think Joel cracked a sweat gland in this game. Absolutely no pressure at all that they put on the Sixers in any way, shape, or form. They're lucky that this game was just a 12-point loss because it could have easily been a 30, 40-point loss. They were horrible. Every stretch that they went on, and I give Doc Rivers a lot of credit for this, because if you look at this game and you slow it down, every time the Celtics went on a 5, 6, 7-point run, timeout. We're not going to let them back into the game. And the Celtics, they missed, Al Horford, I thought, embodied the kind of night that the Celtics had. He was 0 for 7. And I'm not sure if any of the shots that he took were contested. I don't know if a single one of the shots he took was. Embiid had the night off for the most part.
Well, I mean, they ran one
Sherrod,
simple action multiple times.
Yeah.
They ran one action multiple times. So I'm not getting into Joe didn't adjust in this snap, but there was one time where they ran the same play about 7 times in a row, where on the pick and roll coverage, they're playing to get the ball handler to head off towards the sideline, and Embiid just floated to the free throw line and caught the ball and shot a free throw, over and over and over again, and there was nobody there. Okay, right. A couple of them were on Rob. He's in drop coverage. He's standing in the middle of the lane and letting Joel Embiid shoot free throws. Nothing resembled, and they gave it to him every time. Harden would go left, and he would turn. He would look bored by it. He'd turn around, back to Embiid, hit that shot. Unbelievable. The rotations able to get their open threes anytime they wanted. They were getting shots so easily all night.
You had 3 Celtics players switching onto the same guy, in the paint, and then take your pick of which Sixers player could just take an open 3 shot. It looked like
it was. I mean, again, this was pathetic. This was absolutely the most pathetic. This was worse than any game they played all season long, simply because of what was at stake. You have a chance to put a stranglehold on this series, position yourself to get back to the conference finals by simply winning at home against a team you know damn well you're better than. And what do? You don't even play at their level. You simply just show up and do nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, I felt like tonight, Sherrod, they expected or wanted it to be easy.
Yeah.
And when it wasn't, they didn't know what to do. And
they gave into it. They did not fight back. They didn't do anything. They gave you any sense that they gave a rat's ass about this game other than, we'll just go to Philly from here. There was no sense of urgency, and I for the life of me understand how in the hell can you get to this point in the season with a game of this magnitude, with all that was at stake, knowing damn well that this was the best shot you're going to have to put some last-minute doubt into their minds, and you play like this? You play with no effort. You play with no intensity. You play with no disregard. You play with absolutely no semblance of understanding what this moment is about. And you're the team that went to the NBA Finals last year? Are you sure about that? Because you damn sure don't play like it.
Yeah.
I don't care as much about them losing this game as I do the fact that they gave absolutely little to no fight.
At any point, I tweeted this at one point. There wasn't a single 2 to 3 minute stretch where I'm like, here it goes, here they come. Okay, good effort both ways. Keep this going. Here's the run. There wasn't at any point in time. At any point in time. Yeah. And maybe 2 minutes. There was one point where they got it down to 7 or 5 or 6, and then it was back up to 11-12 and stayed that way the rest of the game. They never threatened the rest of the game. Jimmy, you were going to say something.
Yeah. I was going to say something. I wanted to post a comment, but we lost it because we're getting comments coming flying left and right.
I can't scroll back on my chat anymore.
I can only scroll so far, but the comment was, Jimmy, where's your hard hat? So for a lot of people, maybe you're new this year, the hard hat only comes out after a playoff win by the Celtics. It's sitting right here. The reason for the hard hat started because it's going to work. It's bringing your hard hat, showing up, putting on the hard hat, putting on the steel toe boots, bringing the lunch pail, and putting in your hours and coming out at the end of the day feeling good about the effort you put in after a big win. This is the least hard hat game that I've watched in a very long time. So
yeah,
this would never be a hard hat game. And if they won, I'd feel bad putting it on. But
this is grounds to destroy the hard hat.
This is a fireable offense. This is like when you get called in the manager's office. Like, dude, you didn't do anything today. Like,
I want to hear from Joe. Here's Joe. I think maybe acknowledging for the first time ever that his team played like ass. Here you go.
Oh
Joe,
God, thank you.
Play as hard as you could have tonight.
I think we had the right intentions to play as hard as we could. Yeah, absolutely.
What does that mean?
Game to
what the hell does that? I have the right intention to win $1 million.
Hold on.
You guys started. It seemed like a January game. What do you attribute to that? Is there something going on? Do you think that needs to be looked into deeper with this team as to why you can't kind of expect them to play a certain way every night?
It's a great question. No, I don't think so. I think when you have the intentions of really, really wanting to win, it doesn't work out for you well sometimes. And so I thought we had intentions of really, really wanting to win and trying to win it. And sometimes when that happens, it has a negative effect. And so I think we just have to, play with a freer mind, take a deep breath, and regardless of the situation, we just got to be ready to play.
So I think I speak Joe there. What he's saying is the intent. I understand. What he's saying without saying is the moment was too big for them. It got to
yes.
So that's what he's trying to say is they went in here wanting to win, and then they all tightened up and played like shit, and then they couldn't get themselves out of it. The moment was too big for them. Rather than they came in and were blasé, I think he's saying they really wanted to win this game, but then they played like ass and couldn't get their way out of it.
Too big for them.
Whatever it was, they folded. They did not rise to the moment.
I understand that, but
it got to them. It shouldn't be, and that's a bigger question about the general makeup of this team and their core that's now been together for 6 years.
This is mental, John. Yeah. This is a mental hurdle that they aren't getting over, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why. With this game,
I'll tell you when you're done.
What this game reminds me of, and we talk about this all the time, every play, every decision, every rotation, all of that shit matters when you get to this point in the postseason. And when you screw that up and you're screwing it up, 9 times out of 10 it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. You go back and look at that series they had a few years ago against Brooklyn where they swept them, gentlemen's sweep, but all those games were close. 2 or 3 of those games could have gone either way. They're going to look back at game 1 and realize the blown opportunity they had with no Joel Embiid. They're going to look back at game 4 and realize the blown opportunity by simply not making the right basketball decision in the latter stages of that game. And no matter how this thing turns out, even if they go and find a way to win in Philly and they come back here for game 7 and win that, there is a clear, undeniable mental issue that they're going to have going forward. And I don't care who is waiting for them, whether it's Miami or whoever's out west, they have a problem that they need to somehow address soon, because this is pathetic what they did out here tonight.
Now, you say they're going to look back and regret. Not everyone necessarily agrees.
Okay. Does missing out on those opportunities to get a win in either of those games, how much pressure does that put on you guys now? And how much is there any level of regret or anything there with those games?
There's no level of regret. Pressure is pressure. There's no more pressure than the ones that we put on ourselves as individuals and as a team. And at the end of the day, like, nothing you can do about it right now. This is the situation that we're in. And the more we spend time worried about that, then we'll definitely won't be able to come out and execute. We shift our minds towards what we can control and kind of the situation that we're in and what we need to do to execute. That'll give us the best chance.
Okay.
So that's where you're at.
Okay.
Sherrod, when you were saying can't put your finger on why and what happens, I'm going to do it now. And this is going to, I said this earlier. I was like, Tatum's going to end up scoring 40 points and I'm going to rip him for 90 minutes.
Here we go.
Tatum coming
Start
out
the
the way
clock.
that he Tatum coming out the way that he came out, and Tatum coming out the way that he comes out oftentimes in games, missing an entire first half in one game, missing an entire first quarter in this one, freaking kills you, okay? When you look and you turn to your best player to lead you, and they're not ready to start the game yet, or not focused, or just bad, okay? Sometimes it's just you're bad, and he's just not risen to the moment. So I don't want to see the box score at the end of the day. I don't want someone to tell me he had a good second half. When you score 0 points and a half in one game, when you make 0 field goals in the first quarter of another game, when you score 7 points entirely in a third game, you're not doing what a number 4 MVP voting guy and a first-team All-NBAer is supposed to do. What Joel Embiid is doing is what an MVP candidate and a first-team All-NBA player does. Okay? Do you see the difference? Okay?
Huge difference.
So again, it's easy to just say it's low-hanging fruit, but it's like it starts there. And for what it's worth, the greatest fallacy in the history of Celtics basketball is this: when they're winning, Tatum and Brown are compatible. When they're not, they're, are they? Or are we still stuck in my ball, your ball? You have a game this series where Jalen Brown took 10 total shots. Jalen Brown, who started the game 6 of 9 and had 9 shots halfway through the fourth quarter of this game. Like, what are you doing? You're either giving the ball to the best player on your team or the guy who's been playing the best basketball on your team, or you're not. I don't understand it. So something is wrong. If the ball is in Tatum's hands, he is not involving the other guy who has a chance to take some pressure off him at all. They're not working together at all. And if you're going to rely on Tatum to carry you in moments, he's falling massively short.
And that's the problem, John. He is positioned to be that guy to carry the team.
But he's not doing it.
He's not. And it's little things that are, for me, that's really frustrating. Like at the start of games, for example, he's able to beat his man off the dribble. And I know Joel Embiid is a very good defensive player, but damn it, you try to dunk on him once and see what happens. You stop getting so deep into the paint and do that drive and kick game. You need to set the tone. And I thought that was, even if you get your shot blocked, even if make the effort to try to put them on their heels. Show that you came to fight. Show that you're trying to fight to go to the next round. Instead, that's what's frustrating me about this team right now. They have the talent, they have the ability, they have the skills, but do they have the mental toughness and the fight in them to fight back? Because Philadelphia has done exactly what you're supposed to do when you are the lower seed, when you are the team that doesn't have as much talent. You scrap, you make it a dogfight. You have guys like Tucker, laying shots here and there. You've got guys like, Melton coming off the bench, doing things that you have guys that simply muck up the game, make it dirty, make it just more of a knuckle type game. That's what you do. That's what you do. I mean, James Harden, he's a defensive weak link, and you're not attacking him the way you can, the way you should.
No,
it's like they don't. It's like they feel there's this need to make this more tougher than it is. It's almost as if they're just overthinking the process. Real simple: swing the ball around, get an open shot, and make it.
They didn't do that. All of their possessions started with a shit ton of dribbling, and then all of a sudden you're at 10 seconds, and you're like, should I run an action?
Now we're gonna run something.
Should I get into something here? It was incredible, and they kept doing it over and over again. Again, we can keep going and going, but again, I'm always going to point to the stars, and that's always who's going to get the biggest slice of blame pie for me. And it's no different here. We do have to tell. We got to tell you guys a little bit about one of our sponsors here. They're back, baby. You can get excited. You can be pissed at the Celtics.
Just in time for the off-season shows.
You could get, isn't it amazing? This might be our penultimate show. Bananas. But anyway, you can be pissed at the Celtics, but excited about HelloFresh. HelloFresh, farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients, seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store. Count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. It's America's #1 meal kit. So again, the recipes, choose from over 100 items to round out your order. You can take 40 weekly recipes there. Snacks, easy lunches, desserts, pantry necessities. No more scouring the grocery store for that one ingredient. That's the biggest pain in the butt that you're missing, and it happens to me all the time. I made guacamole today. And I forgot limes, and I was really pissed. And
that's a huge ingredient for guacamole.
And you know what I do?
There's only a couple, John.
There's only a couple. I got cilantro. I had everything else. Garlic, onions, avocados. Came home, no limes. What do? I go to the store. I will not accept it. So I wasted a trip to the store. HelloFresh doesn't do that. They have it all there for you. We've all done it before. Jimmy swears by it. Sherrod swears by it. Did you get your meatloaf this time?
I tried something different.
You did?
Yeah, I haven't.
How'd it go?
I'm not gonna say. It's just not meatloaf. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't the meatloaf.
Okay.
It was the cooking.
I
did awesome chicken tacos last week. I will say that's what I got in my batch. One of the
that's
things.
great.
Yeah.
So I was happy with it.
Go to hellofresh.com/16garden. Use the code 16garden. 16 free meals plus free shipping. Once again, hellofresh.com/16garden. Use that code 16garden for your free meals. Also get yourself a t-shirt here that we will send to you with the everything.
John,
in the chat.
I need a few t-shirts. I'm getting texts from people.
You are
saying, "Where's my t-shirt? Where's my t-shirt?" I don't even have the t-shirt, so I need to get the t-shirt. I need to send some t-shirts out.
Back to the game. We were here. And we were
Let
on
me
Tatum.
say something. I haven't got a word in it.
I'm bringing it back to you. I'm going back to where we were in the conversation.
Good. Let's go back,
Jimmy.
to that. I want to say something. I got off my flight Sunday. I come home. This is after the Celtics lost. I turn on the TV. It's late. I'm watching Suns Nuggets. Two unbelievable teams, in my opinion. Two teams that would probably murder anybody out in the West or out in the East, excuse me. And I'm watching Murray and the Joker. And they just feel like two players with one brain. These guys, and I understand the positions are different, but these guys, you can tell, know how to play off each other. They know what each other's thinking. They know where to be. They know how to maximize their offensive possessions. They swing the ball around. It's not just them two, but for a number of possessions in a row. And I know the Nuggets lost this game. Maybe not the best example, but it wasn't to the fault of these two guys and what they were doing on the offensive end. And it just made me think to the Celtics and how I just rarely see, and it's different offenses, but the Celtics just seem so much more independent when they're out there. Once in a while, we get in one of those games where they're whipping the ball around. Usually it's when Tatum and or Brown aren't playing. But otherwise, it's a very just one-dimensional offense.
Tonight it was one guy running into three guys all the time. One guy dribbling, and all of a sudden he'd look up and there was a sea of people around him. Then he'd scramble to look where to pass to. Nothing was with purpose. Nothing was with shape. Nothing was by design.
Nothing was nice. Nothing was oh, I liked what they did there. You know what I mean? It was work, but they weren't coming to work. It was just they made everything look way harder than it needed to be. And it just feels like there's no flow. So I'm watching the Nuggets and it's like, damn, these two offenses, man, I'll tell you what, they're clicking here. They're clicking. And so that's the difference to me when I watch the Celtics right now, is that I just don't see that pretty flow on offense. I don't see two guys that know what each other's thinking out there. And it showed. It showed tonight too.
Put the bottle down, Josue. What do you got?
Not yet, man. No. Hey, the season ain't over, guys. Come on, no bottle talk.
Stop it, Josue.
Josue, you're coming in a tad hot. Back off your mic a little. Yeah. Go ahead.
He's a tad hot and a tad wrong.
Yeah, he's not talking about your take.
No, before we get to Josue's take, let's get to.
Sure.
I'm just gonna talk like this. Then.
Let's hear Jalen's take. Here you go, Jalen Brown. Well, let me ask you guys this: what are your two least favorite post-game comments? Number one, didn't have enough energy, right? What's number two?
That's the go-to.
Here comes number 2.
When they say
Jalen, what did break down defensively, especially with all the fouling here? Because it looked like you guys kind of reached the level you wanted to in
Bobby.
games 2 and 3 on that end.
Yeah, just unnecessary fouls.
Wait for it.
Got in a little bit of foul trouble as well, and kind of just threw our rhythm off. And we got to be able to get stops and guard a lot better than we did tonight. It just seemed like, we couldn't get a stop tonight.
And offensively, Joel's blocking a lot of shots early in the paint. You guys are missing threes. Where do you need to go from there? You did draw a lot of free throws, but offensively, what did you think needed adjustment out of this one?
Definitely get more organized, maintain our spacing. I feel like we got kind of the same looks over and over again. We got a lot of open looks, and we didn't make shots tonight.
We got good looks.
But I think that we can be better, and I think that we will be better.
Yeah, Joe said that too.
Not bad. Honestly,
There's a reason why you got open looks.
Joe said the same thing.
That was a long answer.
It
Say
was.
that they like their shots.
That was the challenge, though. They dared these guys to beat them from behind the arc. When they couldn't do it, they doubled down on it. I mean, that's really what it. I mean, that's how that first half started, right? That and the second chance opportunities, the offensive rebounding, which Philly did a lot of a couple of nights ago. And it was the same thing here. I mean, it took these guys out of it, but at the same time, you were looking for that same type of response from the Celtics that we saw, at least in the second half of last game. But I didn't see that outside of Tatum. Tatum, look, this wasn't pretty, but he had to fight for those 36 points. He was going up. He was going at these guys, going to the rack, not settling for shots after missing 6 in a row. So I credit him for that. But he needed help. Obviously, he needed other guys to step up, and he needed other guys to have that same mindset.
he took 27 shots and was a minus 26 tonight. I'm not giving Tatum any credit for anything, honestly. I'm not.
I mean, not even the free throws, which I told him to do. He finally got his free throw line.
Look, it was fine.
He's supposed to go out and drop 10 3-pointers and
Josue's been infiltrated. Josue's been infiltrated.
Best damn player on the floor.
He's not, Sherrod. You know he's not the best player on the floor.
Best damn player on the floor. I don't think that's asking a lot of a guy who's a top 5, supposed to be top 5 player, to be the best damn player on the floor once in a best of 7 series.
You call him top 5, Sherrod. I don't mean he's top 5. I mean, first of all, second of all, he's not the best player on the floor. Joel Embiid is. This is the guy who scored 30+ 3 nights in a row. What are we talking about here? Are you serious right now?
Joel Embiid on one leg.
Jimmy, you just made my point for me. If this was Joel Embiid in mid-season tip-top shape, yeah, he's not Josue.
Yeah,
he's
but
not
he's
even
not
close
looking
to being
like that.
And he
hasn't looked hobbled since last Friday. Since game 3, he hasn't looked.
Can we at least agree if Embiid's the best player on the floor, Tatum should be close? A close second.
He's not even the third best player.
We're sitting here debating whether or not who's better between the two. That's not the point.
That's fair.
The point is your superstar is not playing like a superstar. The point is your superstar, and again, I laid this out beforehand, Josue, has had games this series where he scored only 7 points total, where he didn't score for an entire half, where he didn't score for an entire quarter. And in this game, it took 27 shots, okay, for him to make 9 field goals. So, I'm sorry, 11 field goals.
11 yeah.
So, no, I'm not giving Tatum flowers for sticking with it.
I'm not saying give him his flowers, man. I'm just saying, like, he was the only one that was showing any positive sign of life. Any sign of life, I should say. I mean,
because they all went one-on-one because he wouldn't give the ball up in the second half. He just shot.
And he was 2 for 9 to start the game. So
he just shot. He just kept going.
His second half was better than his first, but I mean, look.
But Joe, that's a low standard that you're meeting.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he was not very good.
But look, this is the first game where I felt like Philadelphia showed some depth, to be honest with you, and that's the problem with me, because I'm like, wait a minute, I thought Celtics was the one that was deeper, right? Where are the other guys? And I'm not saying that like Tatum has to, I'm not saying Tatum played a good game, but I just felt like he was the only one showing any life out there, and especially in terms of energy and getting out and fast breaks. I mean, no one was doing that. Whereas the Philadelphia 76ers were just so comfortable in controlling the tempo of this game, especially throughout the first half.
No, it's fair, Josue. I mean, look, he tried, but I mean, too little, too late when you start out the way you did there.
Is it really loud?
And again, Josue, you're still coming in a little hot there, so just push the mic back.
Weird. All right, yeah, I'm gonna back up.
Stop yelling.
But
yeah, I know that the yelling part didn't help.
It's all right. Sherrod upset you.
I did.
Yeah, you did, Sherrod.
I did, and I meant to do that. But look, Josue, again, I'm glad that I'm around someone who's got some passion and came to work. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Wow, these guys bummed out. They've been bumming you out the last half hour.
I'm just
No,
they're
the
great. No,
Celtics.
the
Oh, that was a dig at the Celtics, guys.
Yeah, damn, Josue. What you
have you forgot about them already? I can't forget about them that quickly, Josue.
Have I
wish
ever
I
taken-
could, but I can't.
Do I take nights off? I mean, yes, I do. I don't appear on the
I?
show, but when I'm here, no, I don't mail it in. We don't mail it in here, Josue.
That's right.
Well, I just caught up with Marcus, so maybe that's why. Maybe he's got me on a positive tip because he's so like
He can do that to you.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, Sherrod, but also it's just like it's kind of frustrating a little bit because you want to hear some more of that fire, but like that's just who this team is. We'll figure it out. We're gonna, you know, when our backs against the wall, we find out who we really are, and I believe it. I really do, in the sense that there will be a game 7, but you can't rely on which team's going to show up. That's the problem with the Celtics.
I'm not banking on the game 7. I can't
You
feel.
think this
I
one's
can't
done?
feel. I can't feel confident that they can get to a game 7 simply because Philadelphia has played with a level of physicality and togetherness and focus these last couple of games that they're going to have to find a way to mess that up. They're going to have to find a way to play superior basketball. They're going to have to make open shots, and they're going to have to do that on the road against a team that is so thirsty to beat them, and they have them literally right on the cusp of kicking them out of the playoffs. That Philly crowd is going to be so jacked. To me, the best shot the Celtics will have in winning game 6 is to be able to is for Philly to be too hyped, too amped for the game, and forget and don't play with the kind of focus we've seen in the last couple of games. Because
Philly needs to turn into Boston.
They need to do a little.
No, or you need a hot shooting game from the Celtics.
You need a signature game from Tatum. I'm gonna just put it out there. You need.
I don't give a crap about Tatum. They just need to hit their threes. They need to hit. Bobby said it. I didn't.
A signature game from Tatum that would end
Finish
up
this series. I
in a
think
L.
so. That's right. I think you need
Bobby
to
said it last. Bobby
Josue.
said it, and I kind of gave him grief. The 40% mark is important for the Celtics because honestly, now at this point, they can't get in the paint in this series. And so they have to knock down their threes. If they don't, they're in trouble. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily have to come from Tatum. If you don't have an 0 for 7 night from Horford, it's a different story tonight too. I mean,
if you don't get the Philadelphia's bigs, if you don't give them a reason to get out of the paint, they're not going to get out of there. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, again, the Celtics have to obviously knock down their shots, but it's really important at this point because Philly's like, man, this is it. We got these guys. Like that's their mindset right now going into this game because they think they figured things out, and you got to credit Doc Rivers obviously for what he's been doing for his game plan, but also these guys are motivated, you know, especially tonight. If they weren't believers, they certainly are now, obviously, that they can win this series.
All right, before we continue, let me throw this in here because I want you guys to
F you.
just real quick. We gotta pay some bills here. For those out there, and again, the NBA playoffs might be dwindling for the Boston Celtics, but make a fast break to FanDuel during the NBA playoffs because right now, new customers here, when you sign up, get a no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000, $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Very easy, safe app. If you haven't downloaded already, it's extremely easy to use. Jimmy Toscano can't put it down. So there's no better place for all the playoff action. That is America's #1 sportsbook and the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Visit FanDuel.com/Boston and get that no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Once again, check it out right here, FanDuel.com/Boston, no-sweat first bet. When you sign up today, please sign up through that URL. That way they know that we sent you. Get back to it, guys. You were saying?
Question. For Josue.
What's up?
Mr. Positivity, Josue.
Hey.
What did our friend Marcus Smart have to say to you? You said you caught up with him. What was said?
So I caught up with Marcus in the hallway, and he's just saying that what this team needs to do is just speed things up, show more life in a better way to put it, I guess, right? I mean, I think we all agree with that, but you also have to look at the way Philadelphia was in whether it's in Boston or whether it was in Philly, getting out to quick leads in the first half, which is exactly what Joe Mazzulla had to say after this game, and the same thing that Marcus was saying. I mean, look, I just feel like Marcus is in the same headspace as I am with this team, where it's like when they're backed against the wall, they're going to react. They're going to force that pivotal game 7. But even if you get to that far, you don't know which team is going to show up at the end, especially when you're talking about an experienced team or veterans or MVP, and Joel Embiid. I mean, this is a team, this is a core that will steal a game 7 if you give them a chance to. I just think that's why the Celtics have made this incredibly hard on themselves. I do think it's possible for them to push a game 7, but we just don't know which team's going to show up in that game. So, I mean,
Game 7?
Or game
Talk
6,
about game 7?
or game 7, or game 1, or game 2, or game 3, or game 4 of the next series.
I can't think about a game 7 at this point because they have shown very little. They haven't shown themselves.
They better not be thinking about a game 7. Yeah, they better not be thinking about a game 7.
They gotta think about the next 48 minutes they get on that damn court and find a way to have more points than the opponent. This is the thing about this.
Philly winning. I just don't see Philly beating this team 3 times in a row. I don't know. Maybe call me crazy. Call me wild.
I will call you crazy because
3 times, Rod. Because they beat anyone 3 times in a row.
I don't even view it as it's not
doing it.
It's not
That's
3
fine.
times in a row, Josue. It's based on the most recent evidence. What makes you think that the Celtics are going to do something? Like that's the problem right now. I don't know. Here was something.
One of the other things
we wanted to go ahead, Jimmy. Go
real quick. One of the other things we mentioned have been John. You've been, and again, it's always in the players first. But when the playoffs come around, one of the things we said was, how is Mazzulla going to be able to make adjustments in a series where you are playing the same team a number of times in a row like this, and you do have to make adjustments, and you do have to kind of treat it like a little bit like a chess match, right? So you can make the argument that he's getting pretty severely outcoached by Doc Rivers, I would say. If what I'm watching is true out there, I mean, well, sure. What I mean by that is, the adjustments in game, the lack of timeouts in certain situations, feels like Doc Rivers hasn't made much mistakes out there. And whereas Mazzulla, we can name a number of them where he has second guessed himself, and we've second guessed him, and I feel like he didn't have his players ready to play tonight. And yeah, it does fall on the players, but I think there's also a responsibility of the coach to get your guys ready to go, get them in a position to feel like they have the energy to play and to feel like it's an important game, and not wait until your backs are against the wall to then play up to your capabilities.
Well, the thing that we see, not just in this series, but just in playoff series in general, is whatever value you place on head coaches is amplified in the playoffs. It's where, just like players can make a name for themselves in the postseason, the same thing goes for coaches. And sometimes that name is bad. Sometimes you're exposed. Again, this is Joe's first go around as a head coach, and we all know he's going to have his share of mistakes, and he has done a lot of good things well. But the margin of error from a coaching standpoint, from a player standpoint in the playoffs is so small that every bad decision that is blatantly obvious could be literally the difference between you getting on to the next round or not. Because think about it. If they would have played game 1 just 2 or 3 possessions better than they did, and if they'd have done that for game 4, then this series is over. And if you do it for one of those games, then you're up 3-2 going to Philly with 2 shots to win one game, one in your building. So they have made just enough mistakes. They've squashed that margin of error just enough to put themselves in a position where their backs are against the wall. And Josue, if we're talking straight talent, then yes, they're going to bounce back and it'll be a game 7. But I'm not buying that because the mental part of the game is kicking in. The coaching aspect of this series is kicking in. And that in itself is kicking the Celtics' ass right now.
Yes.
We were talking about Joe. Guys, honestly,
it's not even about talent anymore. It's not about talent. Sorry, John, go.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Go ahead.
It's not about talent. It reminds me of the Bruins series a little bit. They're the more talented team from start to finish. And they were up 3-1 in the series, and Josue, guess what happened? The other team
they were up
3-1
in game 7, Jimmy. They were up 3-1 in game 7 at the crib.
So
right.
Go ahead, John.
I don't grade on – no, listen. I don't like to grade on a curve, but Joe Mazzulla is not supposed to be here. It's a given that he's going to run into difficulties, okay? It's understood. It is. It's the playoffs. As Jimmy said, it's a series. In those series, you see a lot of adjustments because you're playing the same team over and over again. That's a big thing. We knew that this was going to be a thing. The deeper you get into series, the more you are worried that he's going to get severely outcoached. Doc Rivers, though he is outperforming him here, is not a coach that anybody considers to be among the more cerebral adjustment-making guys, and most people in Philly have wanted Doc fired for 3 years. So I don't want to overstate what Doc Rivers is doing, just to understand that Joe Mazzulla is going to be at a disadvantage in most series that he's against. But outside of Spoelstra, you don't think anybody's like coaching circles around him. The other thing is he was number 3 on the depth chart. He's not supposed to be the coach. He's the emergency starter who got called in at the very last second because you had no one else. He's not supposed. He's years away
What's
from
your
supposed
point?
to be an NBA coach. So
we can't criticize?
No, I'm saying it goes without saying that this stuff is going to happen. Like,
oh, that's funny. Everyone's calling him Coach of the Year.
Your
halfway through the season.
Your players are as good as their players or better. That's known. The coach is not. That's also a given. Okay, so I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying I don't think it should be that surprising that in these moments he's going to fall a little bit short and trying to make in-game adjustments and this and that. That being said, I think he's made some this series, just not nearly enough right now. And in this game, I thought it was brutal, allowing Philly to do the same thing over and over and over again and never being able to kind of get a handle on the way things are falling apart. This was another Mazzulla soundbite here. I'm not making excuses for it. I'm just saying I'm not that surprised by it. Here was Joe again. Bobby was asking him about, whether this was just a bad, I guess a bad game. I don't know.
You call it a really, really bad game. What do you think in particular? What do you describe it as?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean bad. I thought our intentions were good. I thought we tried to play hard. I thought we tried to play the right way, especially on the offensive end. I thought we got a lot of good looks early that didn't fall, and theirs did. And then I think when you're in that situation, you're just trying to win it back. And so, like I said, it's the first time that we just didn't play well, and we just got to regroup and get ready for the next game.
It's not the first time you didn't play well. If it was the first time you didn't play well, you wouldn't be down 3-2.
God, you were losing last game. You were bad most of last game.
Yes. You were bad most of last game. You were bad all damn near the entire first game.
Yeah.
What am I missing here?
Like the third one this series.
I love how far you have to get to we played hard by saying I think we intended to play hard. I don't understand what that means. I really don't get that.
The series would be over. This would be a sweep if the score was based on intentions.
Yeah.
Well, no, according to him, intentions is just showing up, which is literally just playing.
I intended to diet today, but I ended up eating a whole pizza.
So what does that mean? It means I didn't do my job, John. That literally means that I had a job that I intended to do, and I didn't do it.
I intended
to work out today, but instead I stared at the Peloton.
Cruel intentions. The movie Cruel Intentions.
I stared at the Peloton.
I intended to have no alcoholic drinks this weekend, and I wound up not doing that.
Yeah, right. But you intended to not.
That would be the case if this
intentions was there
this way.
Yeah, I had the right intentions.
What is that? Something like he does jujitsu.
Jimmy, that's
stuff.
bullshit. That's what it is, Jimmy. I'm
Is
just
that like
call it
karate
is.
stuff or like what? What does that mean? That's like karate stuff, right?
This almost makes Joe Mazzulla admitting that he should have called a timeout like a bad approach. It's like I almost wish he didn't do that.
I would not have done it. I would not have done it.
I would not have done it, but I respect him tremendously for doing it because that's the ballsy thing to do in the playoffs, particularly in a place like Boston.
That's what a veteran coach does, Sherrod. That's what like Popovich does, or you know what I mean? Like you finally got.
I respect Joe for owning up to that. I do, but what bothers me though, Josue, more than anything, is that it's great that you own up to it, but it's supposed to be a teaching moment. You're supposed to learn from that, and I didn't really get the feeling that there was something he took from that moment in Game 4 that was applicable to Game 5. And there were lots of opportunities for him to build off of owning up to basically a bad decision on his part. This was another game where Jalen Brown was once again the guy that was the most efficient scorer for you. Tatum needed 27 shots. Brown got 16. I'm not crazy about that difference. Though both of those guys need to be around 20 shots per game.
Because that's what worked during the regular season. It was 21 and 20.
Right. And I'm looking at the numbers here. I mean,
but Jalen Brown even says, Sherrod, a couple games ago, I need to be more, I need to make more points.
That's him being polite.
Yeah, he was very polite. That was such a PC statement that he made,
and especially when he set out the question like that. Yeah,
He knew that wasn't him not doing it. It's like, because they don't give it to me. They run these actions that I'm not involved in. I'm stuck in the corner and no one passes. So what do you want me to do? My number's not being called. Like, it's just not.
I get it completely.
They get into pick and roll actions with Tatum having the ball, and he's not part of the play. His job is to stay. His job is to create space. His job is literally to stand there and do nothing. That's literally what the plays are designed for in those instances when he disappears. I've always thought that was a little much with the Jalen's got to get involved. What's he going to do? Blow up the play, run and friggin', Leroy Jenkins just charge in there and Leroy,
just take it. Oh, no, damn it, Leroy.
Just charge into the breach. Damn it, Jalen, he blew up the play.
Can I switch up the topic for a second?
Yes.
Still Celtics related, but another guy that you'll never see, take over the play is a guy that I hope that we could finally say that the Celtics are not saving him for like the playoffs anymore.
He's done.
Can we finally RIP they're saving Rob talk? Can we RIP that permanently? Because they're not saving Rob for anything anymore. He's just unable to be effective. And unfortunately, Al Horford is paying the price significantly because he's stuck out there in a lot of situations and positions that he probably wouldn't be in if Rob Williams could do what we all thought Rob Williams could do, which is basically cover 5 positions and jump from the cylinder to the 3-point line and block shots. Rob Williams isn't even in the game. Okay. So this whole talk we had all year of them, kid gloves with Rob Williams and saving him for this and 10 minutes here and 15 minutes there and DMPs here and there and all the fans saying, shut up. It only matters what he does in the playoffs. Well, folks, here we are in the playoffs and, a massive situation where you're playing an MVP and an MVP big man, and Rob Williams can't even find the court. Can't even crack 20 minutes.
Rob Williams mentally looks like 3 years ago. Rob Williams. I don't know where he is right now.
It's out in space. It's out in space. He missed the flight to this game. Missed the flight to this series. So I don't know. I mean, I just wanted to make sure we got that in this because I did mention it earlier on Twitter. I've been pretty critical of his unreliability this year, but with the hopes that it would all come together and flip the switch and all that crap that we talk about. It's not. And Mazzulla is even kind of basically criticizing him at points too, saying they want to see, after Rob has a good game, they want to see that the next game, and they want to see it the next game, and they want to see consistency. You're just not getting it. And maybe it'll come out that he's still really hurt and he's playing through pain and he's going to go and get surgery right after the season ends. Maybe that's all fine and dandy, but he's either been hurt or ineffective or unreliable basically since he started his career in Boston. And it's another huge question mark that they're going to have this offseason, regardless of how it ends, is what you do at that center position. And right now, you can't rely on him to be, a major part of it, it feels. So that's where I'm at with it. You guys can disagree if you want, but I think I've seen all I need to see at this point.
Jimmy, I agree with most of what you're saying, but again, because of what we know about Rob,
well, let
me finish. From an athleticism standpoint, there's always the potential for him to be a difference maker at any given point. However, if we're focusing on his body of work, then you're right. You can't trust him. You can't trust him to be out there more than 19, 20 minutes, and even that's a bit of a stretch.
But even now, he's not even effective. That's my biggest thing. Give you 20 good minutes.
Yeah, and he's not alone. I mean, obviously, you start going down the lineup.
No, not at all.
They got a lot, and I just wish that at the very beginning of games, they would come out and actually play with a high level of aggression. If you're able to beat your man off the dribble and get into the paint, don't settle for the contested shot. Try to damn dunk the ball if you're athletic enough to do that. I thought, again, this was a game where Tatum made I think the playbook, traditional right play, dribble drive, CMB, kick. How about dribble drive, CMB, and that's try to dunk on him every now and then.
You could, and I mean, this doesn't help. I mean, we're talking about the game Rob had.
I know.
I mean, Al's having a tough time too,
And we didn't even touch on Al.
and
Al was brutal.
And Embiid wasn't guardable tonight, so like every time anybody tried to guard him in the block, it was a foul. And then when he caught it, he was just allowed to take uncontested free throw jumpers. So it was just one of those silly games where nothing was working at all. If they threw bodies at him, also the Celtics just played the dumbest friggin' defense I've ever seen. Forget about bad effort. They tried to put hands in there every single time people went up with a shot. For the love of God, like, just have them go up and over you. You play with your feet. You keep them away from the basket as best you can, and you contest clean. Just go up and put your hands up every time, reaching, slapping, blah, blah, blah. All this lazy shit. They fouled just all game long. It wasn't just reaching and slapping down at the ball and trying to, get blocks and dumb contests. But Al killed you all friggin' night. You can't have these.
He did. He killed you, but I think this performance is not indicative of how he's played as of late. He
hasn't been shooting well, and
he hasn't been shooting well. He's been 30% or something.
And I blame most of it on Duke. For razzing him a little bit.
Not for nothing.
Getting
John,
under his skin.
I'm glad you brought that up because that dude was so happy after the game. And I feel like it's because of that. I feel like it's because Al was over 7.
The only happy person in Boston right now is Duke Castiglione for throwing Al off his game.
He's like, see, that's why I laughed because he's not an
I told you he wasn't an elite shooter. Laugh at me, will you?
Yeah.
So.
Ooh, yeah.
What's up, Bobby?
That was rough.
What up, Bobby?
That was rough.
Hey, Bobby, good questions. We listened to a few on the show.
All right, Bobby, what do you got?
Gary was walking down this road
Guy's
too.
falling. That's what Bobby about to say.
Yeah, I'm not going there. Remember a year ago I said they're done at 3-2 when they came back. I could see that happening again. I'm not banking on it.
What were you saying? Gary was what?
Yeah, sorry.
Me and Gary were kind of walking down the same road in terms of this team wants to keep slamming the book on its bad games, especially these ones, the big time letdowns. And the answers you hear repeatedly in these spots are just move on to the next one. Tatum especially leaned hard into that idea of just, forget this one and move on. And we keep talking about this team's issues and trying to learn from them and address them. And I can't help but think, even though these are probably just cliche answers to get out of the room after a tough loss, I can't help but think that that's actually what they do. I mean, they're 6-5 in the playoffs now. The inconsistency is maddening. A lot of the same issues keep popping up. And there's a lot of, I'd say, divided answers when it comes to actually tangibly addressing these things. So are they just rolling the ball out there again next game? I know they're watching film and they're talking about stuff, obviously.
Bobby,
but
don't you think that's been a problem all year, though?
This has been a problem for years.
No, I'm saying with this particular team, haven't we not said this time and again? I don't think they actually agree in that room who they want to be and what type of ball they want to play. You got Jalen saying we should attack, and then you got Joe saying we need to take more threes, and you got Tatum saying I need to step up, and other people saying we need ball movement, and some people saying I like that we do this, and other people saying that we're not doing enough of that. Some people saying we got to lead.
That's a great.
We got to lead with defense first, and others say the key to our team is our offense. We've talked about them not having an identity, which is so strange for a team that finished first and second, or second and third, or whatever it is, respectively, in offensive and defensive rating. The reality is, on paper, they can do everything well, yet they don't have a hallmark, a signature thing that they can lean in on and be like, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is how we win. So does everybody go home tonight and thinking, if I do this tonight, if I do this next game, we'll be good, but they're all thinking different things?
Yeah. You see it play out on the court.
You see it all the time. It's like a bunch of musicians reading from different sheet music sometimes. Like, they can all play, but they're playing different songs, So, you don't know sometimes. It does feel like they don't really know exactly what they're supposed to do, in some of these moments. So I can't really tell.
Yeah, but then they'll show up on like they did in Game 3, and they're all in unison. like a freaking orc or so. Like it's
Totally.
It's
I think that's more about
never
just
seen
how
anything
good
like
the
it.
talent is, Josue, though. I don't think they reach a breakthrough and get on the same page.
I just think all of a sudden they're all good at once. Here's
yeah,
Tatum.
but it's a one night only show. That's the
Yeah.
thing about it.
Yeah, here's
So-
Tatum talking about it.
How much of a challenge will it be to regroup from kind of just a bad performance like this in such a big game? I mean, like I keep saying, is nothing that we could do about tonight. It happened. It's unfortunate,
God.
right? We wish we could change
That's
it, but
not
it's not
annoying.
how life works. Can't go back in time.
I don't know what sounds
Just
worse.
gotta get ready for Thursday.
Just
And
ignore it.
sounds cliche, but it's as simple as that. We got a flight tomorrow. We're gonna watch film when we get there.
Okay, we get it. I can't hear that anymore.
Oh, you missed the ending.
Oh, it's you guys. It was one
Yeah.
of you.
It's not me.
I'm hearing it in your background. It's not the Tatum bite.
It
You
was
still
Jimmy.
hear it? It's like a vacuum cleaner somewhere.
Oh no, I don't hear it anymore. I don't hear
It's not
Jimmy.
me. I'm right here. You
Oh,
can
no.
hear me. Oh, who just did that? Who just
Oh no,
clicked?
this is great.
Bobby, move your there.
It's Bobby.
I freaking knew it.
I'm playing it again.
All right, let's play it again.
Part of that mic. We're getting feedback from that mic.
Yeah, what is that? A boom mic? Now we can't hear Tatum.
Huh?
I can't hear Tatum. Now I can't hear John.
I'm gonna try Tatum one more time. Give me a second. Ready?
Get ready for the game on Thursday. How much of a challenge will it be to regroup from kind of just a bad performance like this in such a big game? I mean, I feel like I keep saying is nothing that we could do about tonight. It happened.
Nothing you can do.
It's unfortunate, right? We wish we could change it, but that's not how life works. Can't go back in time. Just gotta get ready for Thursday. And sounds cliche, but it's as simple as that. We got a flight tomorrow. We're gonna watch film when we get there, get some rest, shoot around Thursday, talk to you guys again, and say the same shit again, and get ready for the game on Thursday.
You got that right.
He swore.
No, these guys don't learn their lesson.
Yeah, they got it.
Yeah.
He just said
Seems
say
like
the same shit again.
They'll be
Yeah,
good.
tell us about it. We know what that sounds like.
Yo, Marcus gave me that same line about life. I wonder if that's like a Joe Mazzulla thing that's just like embedded into their head.
Probably some life lesson there, Josue.
I guess.
Here's one for Sherrod and Jimmy.
Absolutely, I agree completely. Hey, they gave Cornette, Muscala. We saw a little Hauser tonight. We saw a little Pritchard.
A little bit. I forgot How's still on the team. Jeez.
How close did they push you, Jimmy? 12?
What's that?
Sherrod has reached the
12.
rubbing his eyes portion of the show. I don't know if that means he's tired of us or
Just
this
I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm tired of hearing them. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Well, it kind of is a big deal because it's kind of the playoffs, and this is kind of what you've been sort of playing for all year.
Well, let's ask the big question. Let's ask the big question, Sherrod, because we're in. We might as well get to it. Can they win this series? Absolutely. I think we all agree on that.
No, they don't, Bobby. You'd be surprised the energy I walked into. I was like, geez.
You guys think they're done?
Josue, you came in with like freaking rainbows and
Josue showed up in green pom-poms
and
he
just
had
just like
Kool-Aid.
Josue, they just got their ass whipped. And you coming in
You
as
guys-
if they
you
won by
guys-
30.
You guys
My
think
little
that?
pony.
Josue was just like, go team, go. Go
Josue came
To
in.
be fair,
Everything is
yeah.
awesome. Josue
Wow.
was just
Wait,
like.
so you guys,
I love how Tatum played. That was Josue.
I didn't say that.
Josue came in and said,
I said
"We're
that
not
was the
done
only
yet,
good thing.
guys."
That was the only good thing, and you guys were like, Tatum is the worst player in the
Hold on. Raise your hand if you think they're done.
Nobody's gonna say that
Nobody's-
they're done.
All right, that's what I
Raising
just
my
said.
hands right
That's what I just said. So,
But there's also no reason to believe that they're not done.
that's what I'm getting.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, this optimism, while appreciated, it's just
not-
not based on reality. The
No, it's not
reality
about.
is
It's not about optimism. It's about win or lose. They just at the end of the road. Like this is this group just never gonna figure it out.
So,
Win
look,
or lose.
we joked about it earlier. I said this team could win the title, and at the end of the year, I'd be like, I don't know if I trust this core. So, like, they've done enough damage to you at this point for you to truly wonder whether or not they'll ever figure it out. I think enough things could break their way that they could win, that they could get there. You know what I mean? It happened last year. Last year could have been a second round exit. And the entire idea about this team would be like, if they don't get to the conference finals or later this year, it's a fail. Like, there would be enormous pressure to advance deep after a failure last year. But I think they got to the finals and everyone had this false sense of like, they're right there. They got there last year and now they win. So now anything short of that is going to feel like a massive failure. But it's the same group for 6 years. I don't know how you feel good about it if they fall short. At this point, I hate doing if they don't win, you have to. But you do have to now at some point look back and say, it's the same guys, 6 years, 3 different coaches, 3 years. We got to change it up. And that was always the argument. The argument by splitting up the Jays that people couldn't wrap their minds around was not that one guy is bad. It's that are these guys complementary pieces that make each other better? And it's always been a bit of a question mark. So you're going to question it if they fall short. No question about it.
I'm not getting to that point yet. We can have that conversation
way down the road, but that's good. That's where the conversation is going to go. Is the core has to change? Yeah.
Look at tonight. Early on, it's Tatum driving and kicking, ton of threes. Brown gets the ball. He's forcing the issue downhill. Second quarter, Brown gets no shots. And Tatum finally gets his first shot midway through the second while Brown's out with foul trouble, and they're disconnected for the rest of the game. And I think that's where everything stemmed from. You don't see those two, and I'm stunned. We looked at the numbers last game, John, to see Tatum's passing to Brown 9 times a game because that looks good on paper. 8 last game in particular. I finally got the number.
But half of those are outlets, Bobby. They're not in half-court sets. It's a rebound and an outlet half the time.
It's not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's surprising to see that because you don't see it in action. Like, we know there's just a disconnectedness there. They're not screening for each other like we've seen them try to do in the past to get in the same sequence as each other. And Jalen, I don't know if you played the cut, said, I thought we were running the same thing over and over again tonight. And I felt that way too. Just some kind of pick and roll with Al, or pick and pop with Al, or smart roll, or Joe looks a little lost in this game.
Joe has a thing that he thinks he's like, here's what we do well, so let's just keep doing it until the results change. That's usually his approach, and you become predictable. As we said, the type of defense they were playing, there was that point in the third quarter, Bobby, where they ran the same exact pick and roll with Harden, and the Celtics forced him to the sideline. And he would just turn around and send it right back to Embiid, who's just standing there for a free throw jumper. Oh, they ran it like 5-6 times in a row. Celtics never adjusted their coverages there. You know, there's just certain things that they just don't do in game.
Their defense stunk tonight. And I've said this all year, John. I don't know where you want to go with that because they lost their defensive identity this year, and it's coming out at the worst spot, the passiveness on that end. You go back and look at last game, all the passive switches they gave up, all the mismatches they're allowing.
It's fine, but I'll still go back to it. The defense wasn't great, but to me, it was the offensive dysfunction that killed them. If they score 120, they win. You know, like this is just. I mean, if they're hitting their threes, the bad offense leads to bad defense. It always kills them that way. It really does. I'm going to look at this game and say the defense wasn't great at all, but offensively they looked like they'd never played together ever in their lives. Like it just was so bad.
Last year you can lean on that defense to win on a bad shooting night, and the record's not terrible when they don't shoot well this year, but it's bad enough, and there's enough bad shooting nights in general for it to throw them in the inconsistency. And that's what we said about this team, John. At 21-5, you're shooting 40% from 3. They look like the Warriors. We ask, is this team the Warriors? And the rest of the way, they've just been an up-and-down team that kind of leans into shooting, defends sometimes. As Josue said a few minutes ago, looks unbelievable on their best nights. On their worst nights, don't really seem to have answers. But the biggest thing tonight, they just didn't have answers. Where were the adjustments on either end? They didn't have answers for anything.
They need to take it to Embiid. I feel like they're still afraid of him. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like what happened to Friday night when you saw Tatum juke him so bad that his knee buckled? Like, he needs that kind of pressure, you know? And I feel like it can't just be Tatum. That'd be other guys, too. I mean, shit, someone mentioned Blake. I mean, maybe Blake is a guy who wouldn't be afraid. You know? I'm not saying.
Enough with, it's not going to be Blake or Pritchard who saves them.
Right. Well, that's the thing, though. Yeah, they're not going to save him, but I'm like, it's that type of like energy that this team needs. Maybe not from those guys in particular, but I mean, you're wondering what kind of curveball Joe's going to throw here, because he has to. He's got to shake things up in a big way in Game 6. He has to throw something at Doc that he hasn't seen yet up until this point. Otherwise, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, that's the point of a series.
There's no curve. It's Tatum, and I've said this so many games. Show up.
All right. Well, if he has a signature performance, yeah, that puts you in good position.
Forget signature.
I think it's beyond.
Just be there. Just be present to start the game.
How many times has he done this now?
The rest of the team
devastating.
The rest of the team can't wait for you. They can't. They've gotten down early twice and couldn't. One time they did come back and fell short, and the other time they couldn't. You can't do that. Show up, man. It's so frustrating.
Especially when we're talking MVP and first team and all this stuff.
Best player on the floor. Right, Josue?
No, that's Tatum, I guess. According to Blakely.
According to you.
Let me ask you, Sherrod, I'll ask you this. To be our quote translator, the bite we played from Jalen earlier, the long and winding one where he said, we definitely have to get more organized. Is that a shot? Is there a shot at the coach?
No.
Or is that a shot at the people who have the ball in their hands?
I think it's a shot at the people who have the ball in their hands. Because the one thing that Mazzulla does is he really does empower his players to make a lot of the decisions that happen in game. And so if you've got a player saying that we need to be more organized, he's talking about the guys who handle the organization more than anyone else, and that's the players. I think that's a Tatum thing. I think he's looking at Marcus Smart as guys that need to do a better job of organizing the team. He's right. They have to be better because clearly, they have matchups that they can lean into that they just don't for whatever reason. And as much as I think Philadelphia's defense, I think has been pretty solid of late, there's still enough cracks within that defense that the Celtics aren't taking advantage of. And I think that's kind of what Jalen was alluding to.
Facts, my dog.
Yeah,
one of the few shots Jalen took.
Wow. Well done, Jimmy. Well done.
There it is.
He just got that in there too.
When Jimmy's tired, when Jimmy
gave everybody else a chance.
Yeah. Jimmy resorts to zingers when he wants the show to end. Real quick, we want to tell you guys about another one of our sponsors, Athletic Greens. Check this out. Jimmy loves it. He stacks it.
I stack it. All right. I'll be stacking it tomorrow with sunlight. I'll be stacking it with some beef organs. I'm doing yoga now too, so it's stacking.
There it is.
I'm stacking everything.
Athleticgreens.com/garden. Go there, check it out. Get 5 free travel packs and a year supply of vitamin D.
Lifetime.
Lifetime. Great supplement. Take it in the morning instead of chasing a million different pills and vitamins. This is your one-stop shopping source for all of those different things that you're getting for energy, recovery, focus, immune system, gut health. It's all in there. So just check it out. Athleticgreens.com/garden. As we said, you get that free gift that's on the screen, and you get this free gift as well when you sign up. Support one of our sponsors, and you do get a free Garden Report T-shirt. So, guys, what are we doing here? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Showing up is obviously one thing. What are we doing different in Game 6?
Attack and beat. Attack and beat. Test him out. I wish you'd have done more of that in this game. Because he's going to be, he's getting healthier as this damn.
But don't you feel like they did that, Sherrod, and he had that first game, and he had 5 blocks, and then they kind of stopped, even though they won the game.
That happened a little bit in this game too.
That's the last time they did it, John. Last Friday.
Well, I think you've got to be very strategic about when you do it, and I think that you need to set the tone. You need to make it clear that you're there to fight, even if you get and to me, yeah, he had some blocks and he did his job, but he did that in the second, third, and fourth quarter when he's out there. He's at that point he's got a nice rhythm going. He's feeling good about himself. Do it from the outset. Do it from the jump. See what happens. You got to try something different. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm going double big. Try it. You haven't tried it enough in this series. Bring back that defensive identity. Pile up stops. put a bunch of bodies in the paint that are going to make it tough for them to finish in there. Have Rob in that health position on Embiid. They've minimized Rob in this series. And you can say
you can't have a Smart and Rob lineup right now. with
you'll get offensive rebounds.
With the way Tatum is shooting threes at this point, that lineup, what are you going to do? I mean, it's just going to be.
You're going to get stopped.
You know how Joe is, though. He wants those extra possessions. He wants those second chance opportunities.
I can't stand that anymore.
I can see him going that route. I can see him doing that double big.
I mean,
but either way, man, these guys got to attack and beat. I mean,
you have to generate. Like Josue said, you got to generate extra possessions somehow.
I don't think I play Rob anymore. I don't.
But that's the way Mazzulla thinks too.
When Embiid is out, I go small and I spread it and I try to shoot like crazy.
You're about to shoot again? You're gonna live and die by the three again?
Yes, I do not bring. I am done. I'm done with Rob for this series.
Joe would do some shit like that too.
I think Rob's done with Rob.
I go Grant and Hauser when Embiid's out of the game. I'm not kidding. Shoot. Done. I'm done with it.
I think Rob's helped you when in that drop off the bench. And, he's not able to get out on Embiid and all that, but
get the shooters some minutes. Get shooters minutes.
Rob has done nothing.
How many? I've been screaming this from the rooftop all series. How many minutes did Tucker play tonight? 33. You have 33 minutes where Rob could be on the floor just ignoring him. If TJ Tucker wants to shoot 15 threes and hit 10,
you know who else gets ignored? You know who else gets ignored in that scenario, Bobby?
Rob.
Again,
you need to pile up some stops right now, and that's a great way to pack the paint, throw some doubles, get some turnovers. You only forced 9 turnovers in this one, and I think that's been one of their biggest problems all year.
Bobby, doesn't that tell you where they're at with Rob? That even with PJ Tucker playing that many minutes, he's just rotting on the bench. After a full year of everybody telling us they're saving Rob for the playoffs, doesn't that tell you where the field Rob is at?
I get what you're saying to some degree, but I also think Joe wants to play small, wants to have the versatile offensive lineup out there. And even tonight, you heard him talking about how the offense is dictating how they're defending. They need to take the right shots and do different things on offense to set their defense up. They got to bring the attack on defense next game and create these transition opportunities for themselves. Going bigger gets you extra opportunities on the offensive end. The one thing I love that Joe talks about are those shot totals, John. And they keep losing those because they're turning the ball over. They're giving up the offensive rebounds. They're giving up the free throws a lot of time. I mean, you shot 38 free throws in this one, but you fouled 30 times. You're overwhelmed.
They only turned it over 8 times tonight, Bobby.
Yeah. I know, but you only forced 9.
Yeah.
So it just you built no advantages for yourself. Even
no, I mean they got killed. They got killed on the glass today. I mean, but again, offensive rebounds were 9-9. The reason Philly out rebounded them is because Boston missed every shot, so there was a lot of rebounds to be had on the defensive end.
Well, they grabbed 5 of them in that first quarter, so I think
and then they grabbed
the early lead. But
it wasn't even that. It was literally the Celtics are bad at offensive basketball tonight. They looked like they'd never played before. They had no offensive flow or game plan. Everything was difficult for them. Yeah, they got some open looks, throughout the game at various points, but for the most part, they were working really hard. That's one thing with Tatum. I find. I feel like no superstar works harder for his points than Tatum. Everything is difficult. They're all contested shots. They're tricky. They're tricky finishes at the rim. They're never.
And you know what, too? It's getting harder and harder.
So rarely easy. He just doesn't just rise up and just hit a jumper. Open. Mm-hmm. Everything is with people draped all over him. Contested pull-ups, all of this stuff. Nothing is easy for him.
Remember the beginning of the season? They're so far from that point. You want to get better as the year goes on. This team peaked in the first month or 2.
They didn't do it tonight. It's the same formula. Put effort in on defense, live with the results as long as you're constantly trying, and move the basketball. Just do that. And then figure out other things that you can do on the fly, adjustments, rotations, X, Y, and Z. But those are the 2 baseline things you have to start with. Effort and then some sort of energy and movement on offense. When they deviate from that,
they didn't have energy tonight, John.
None. We're looking for answers, places they don't exist. If you don't show up to play, what's the point of scrutinizing who Joe brought into the second quarter and whether he adjusted or shouldn't have played drop coverage. They didn't come to play. They didn't play. They didn't. And from minute one, they didn't execute any of their game plan. What do you want to happen after that? They decided they weren't in this game.
Do other fan bases or do other teams run into this issue, or is it just? I just can't imagine.
Everybody hates their coach. They literally want to fire Steve Kerr right now in Golden State. I'm not
coach,
kidding.
but just with the team's effort. I mean, not coach. Like at this point in the year, are other teams calling?
Yeah, you see it, but those are trash teams. You see it with like the Knicks, and things like that. You see it with teams that fail and they're losers, and they're the type of teams we say on this show. Those are loser teams, and Celtics will kill them. They'll never do it. So, yeah, you do with the loser teams.
Yeah, and now the Celtics are playing like those teams.
Yeah. Anyway, Game 6 Thursday in what shockingly could be the last Garden Report of the season.
The line is out. Yeah. What's your guess? Celtics 76ers line is out on FanDuel.
Celtics minus 2.5.
Any other guesses? It's Celtics
I'm
minus
going 1.
It's Celtics minus 1.5.
3.
1.5.
It's minus 1.5. So again,
I think Game 4 was like a half point. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Embiid keeps looking better. Harden's playing good in the series, which no one saw coming. The Sixers are doing things well. I think Doc's coaching well. He's not going to get credit for it, but he's coaching.
He got some on this show.
Yeah, he got plenty of love here.
Oh, Josue hated it. We gave love to the Sixers for a minute.
I didn't say any Doc slander.
I'm giving my prediction. Let's give our predictions. I'm going first. I have the Sixers winning this game on Thursday night. I don't like what I see. I have the same feeling I had about the Bruins when they couldn't get their shit together, pardon my French, and a worse team than them was playing better than them consistently, and they were showing up, and they were physical, and guys on that team were stepping up, and their leader was stepping up. Talking about who's Florida's guy there? I'm blanking on the American.
Kachuk.
Kachuk, thank you. That's like their Embiid right now. So I don't like what I'm seeing from this Celtics team. I haven't really loved it for a while. They've gotten into some bad habits. I don't trust that they can pull themselves out of it. I don't trust that they can execute down the stretch because we haven't seen that recently. And I have no reason to believe that they're going to win this game on Thursday. I'd like to be proven wrong, but I don't know how I can predict that they're going to win this game based on what I've seen over the last few games. So that's where I'm at with this
Sherrod?
team.
Yeah, I'm with Jimmy on this one. I mean, I there's no doubt in my mind that they're the better team than Philly. There's no doubt in my mind that this is a game that they should win. But there's every reason to doubt this team because they've planted that seed and they've watered that seed this entire series of not feeling comfortable and confident that they're going to handle their business. So I think they'll win Game 6. But, again, that's based on me deep down believing they're going to figure it out. But the proof that we have to work with says a completely different story.
I think they win. We've seen them in this spot. This is where they play their best. Game 7, though, you never want to end up in a Game 7 because I always think it's a coin toss. The coin probably flips a little heavier toward the home team, but you don't have Grant at this point. Again, minimize to the highest degree to hit a bunch of threes and bail you out that way. The Tatum-Brown thing looks disconnected right now. Rob, Al, you look at what they're faced with right now. It's a tough matchup right now going against Embiid, the level he's playing at. Whoever hits more threes in that Game 7 is probably going to win.
Talk about Game 6, Bobby.
Oh yeah, I got him in Game 6. I think the Celtics got that one.
Josue.
You guys already know. But look, this is going to be.
Yeah, we do. Next, John.
This is going to be similar. This is going to be similar to what you saw in Game 2. But I just, again, that's the way it has to be. It can't be, Tatum just takes over and everyone falls. No, I think he's gonna have to get back to sharing the basketball, knocking down shots, and I think they will. I mean, a lot of these wide open threes that they got throughout this game, I don't think you see the same result. I mean, that's just not. It's just how this team's respond historically, especially throughout that slump mid-season and beyond, even throughout the playoffs as well. They respond, especially the way they lost these last 2 games, and I think Tatum's gonna have a big part of that. And same thing. Probably you could say it's probably the same thing about Jalen, but it's not gonna just be those two. I think they get going from deep, They get a lot of those shots to fall that didn't happen in this one, and they pull it out.
I said I was going to go 90 minutes crapping on Tatum, and we're almost at the 90-minute mark, so I'll do it.
Nice.
No, listen, I don't care. I don't think it has to be the Tatum goes off game. I don't think it has to be the Tatum anything game. If you're not going to score, don't waste everybody else's time dribbling around the basketball and taking bad shots and forcing the issue. Just play within the flow of the offense, and when it comes to you, it comes to you, okay? I don't want the Tatum game. I don't want it.
It could be one of those 10 assist games.
I don't want the Tatum game. I don't think this team needs the Tatum game. I don't think fans should want it. Just play friggin' basketball. I started this series predicting Celtics in 7. I'm staying with Celtics in 7, which means they're going to win game 6 because they're going to get hot and they're going to have one of those massive shooting games, and game 7 is going to be a total friggin', insane game where you're going to love and hate them 85,000 times, and somehow they're going to win it, barely hanging on, and should have blown the game like 14,000 times. But they win. It's going to be It's going to be the Heat rolling back, and Jimmy Butler misses a 3 sort of win. You're going to be like, oh my
God. That's what I'm leaning toward. Yeah. Is that going to be an afternoon game?
That's how close it was last year, man. People forget. That's the thing.
Is that an afternoon game, John?
We don't know. It depends if there's another game 7 or not, but I don't know. I don't know what that goes. I may not.
Was it Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday, Mother's Day.
Oh my God, dude! I hope my mom's not watching.
Just hold that. Really good at poker. You're showing that poker face. You were showing that poker face for 90 minutes. I said you must be really good at poker.
With what?
I said you must be really good at poker. You've been showing that poker face for 90 minutes.
I'm okay.
I thought you were gonna say Philly in 7 at least.
No, I'm sticking with it. It's that wild ride, that they take us on. But anyway,
I'm not gonna take. Listen, I'm not gonna take a victory lap if I'm right.
Like I said it. When it was you and me, Jimmy. I don't want to take any victory laps over some of the things that we've said about this team coming to fruition. But when they keep showing it, I do think that this team, if this team goes down to the Sixers here in 6. They're going to lose a lot of defenders.
You guys are the scorned boyfriends right now.
I'm going back. No, Jimmy, I'm going
one more.
I'm going Sixers in 7.
Oh.
Ooh.
Wow.
Bobby.
3 Garden losses. Look at Sherrod's face. Look at the Sherrod face.
Bobby, I like it.
Wow.
You know what, Bobby?
Right, you're going Sixers and 6.
I was shocked you didn't say that from the beginning, Bobby. I mean, I was like, sky's falling. This is right on par. Like, this is.
I wanted to be on the record here that John Zannis is the only one who thinks the Celtics are going to win this series at this point in time. I want everyone to remember this.
Like I said, whoever hits more 3s in Game 7, I think is going to move on.
I'm feeling better about the Celtics' chances of winning now.
I like that, Bobby. So Bobby's going with the road teams in the next couple of games coming.
Bobby, the guy who called this one a sweep for the Celtics, right?
No, what's so funny now?
You had to bring that up just like, damn.
All right, cool. Hey, just say it.
I didn't think Embiid was playing.
I do believe there's there is a faction of Celtics fans out there that want to be put out of their misery. It is stressful. This is a tough team to root for. It has been for a long time. It's a really difficult team to root for.
Wait till you see the Heat next round. It's going to be another
Boston fans just can't catch a break.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks, guys. We're back on Thursday night in Philly. Sherrod, are you going back?
Yeah, I'll be going back.
Sherrod's there. Bobby's there. We'll have a collection of us other stiffs here reporting on what we're hoping is not the last Garden report.
I'll be ready.
At least we're hoping is not the last post-game Garden report of the season. Regardless, win or lose, we will continue bringing you basketball coverage, talking about Celtics-related issues through the rest of the NBA playoffs.
No season finales.
We're just hoping we don't have the season finale on Thursday, which is possible. Didn't think it was possible up until very recently, but it is. So
that would be a heck of a show, though. But not yet.
We'll see. We're all wearing black on Thursday. We will see you guys then.